Torrential rains disrupt traffic, overwhelm structures across Lagos. Cholera death toll now at 63, with over 2,000 recorded cases in 33 states across the federation. Survivors of Goza suicide attacks get to receive support as hospital discharges patients. On the foreign scene, dozens killed in attack on a village in central Mali. Hello there, good evening and welcome to the news hour. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Lagos State as an early morning downpour in Lagos State on Wednesday morning flooded parts of Lagos State, making it difficult for commuters to move freely from destination to destination. Now, workers across the nation's commercial capital struggle to get to work. The Iyana Oworo Olopo Meji areas leading to the Third Mainland Bridge were completely flooded, causing heavy traffic. Many who defied the rains and left their homes with the hope of getting to work were seen stranded at different bus stops while trying to commute in the city. Motorists have to spend hours on roads coming through Alapere to Third Mainland Bridge. Also heavily flooded was the Iyana Oworo Olopomeji area heading to the Third Mainland Bridge, causing long traffic that extended to Alapere area. All right, let's now join Daily Trust Acting Bureau Chief in Southwest, Abdulateef Ali, who is joining us to give us update on that torrential rainfall that disrupted activities across Lagos State. Abdulateef, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on the news hour. First of all, we've seen the disturbing images: houses submerged, roads overflowing with huge flood waters, and people stranded across different parts of Lagos. Give us an understanding of the scale of devastation caused by the floods.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening. Yes, the downpour in Lagos actually started on Tuesday, and it subsided around the evening yesterday. And very early this morning, it started again. And usually when it rains in Lagos, it comes with this fear and apprehension of flooding in the major parts of the state. And that is actually what has happened today. They discovered that most areas in Lagos, talking about from Agege, Ikeja, K2, down to Yanoworo, then to the Lagos Island, Victoria Island, Lekki, and moving towards Iyana, Aboru, and so many other places in Lagos were actually flooded. And we also recorded a casualty somewhere around K2 when flood actually swept away a primary school pupil who was actually returning from school and so on. That was the only casualty we recorded in terms of human. But basically, millions of properties of Lagosians were actually destroyed as a result of the flood.
Now, Abdulateef, give us an idea of the nature of the impact across both the mainland and the island.
Yes, the impact on both the mainland and island were actually similar. So we saw houses submerged, and both in the mainland and also in the island. And the implication of that, again, is that a lot of people were actually going to work from mainland to the island were actually stranded, especially when you get to that Iyanoworo side, which was completely submerged. And you see most commercial vehicles, the downfall yellow buses, all stuck inside the flood and so on. A lot of people who were going to work actually got to their respective offices very late as a result of the rain, and most people could not also get buses to their various areas. Right. Especially a lot of people living from the mainland to the island and so on. And it has actually been a recurring issue in Lagos State. Anytime it rains, you just don't pray for maybe 2 hours, 1 hour or 2 hours of rain. You experience very massive flood in major areas of the state. And that is actually what we have experienced today.
Given the perennial nature of this situation, what can you tell us about the effectiveness of the emergency services available to help cushion the impact of this flooding?
Yes, no doubt there has been some proactiveness on the part of the state government when it rains like this. You see the state emergency management services last summer issuing out instructions to Lagosians about the impending flood. And also, apart from that, we have also seen the National Emergency Management Agency and other emergency services also warning about the impending flood and so on. What the state government has done is to actually call for calm, but really that has been a recurring issue. The flood will come, they will call for calm, they will assure Lagosians that they are on top of it. But really, we have not been able to find a very a resolution to all these issues, because it has become more like a recurring decimal, something we experience year in, year out at every rainy season and so on. So the impact, the effect has been very huge in terms of affecting the commercial activity. Lagos is the commercial nerve center of Nigeria. When it rains like this, it disturbs a lot of commercial activities in the state.
Yeah, and what can you tell us about the situation now? Has the flooding been contained? Have the waters subsided? How is the situation now?
Yes, at the moment the rain has subsided, so it's still drizzling in some parts of the state. But the residents at the moment are actually counting their losses. And we also, the emergency management services, the responders are also at various places trying to provide succor and relief to those who have been displaced. Because at the moment, a lot of people have been displaced. Some who have their houses submerged, they have to relocate to other safe environments and so on. The rain has actually subsided, but the effect is still very much there. They are trying to provide relief. People are still counting their losses, and by tomorrow we will get to have a clearer picture of what is actually the situation of the flood across the state. But a whole lot of places, a whole lot of residents have been displaced, and they have all relocated to safe places. And also, the government has also advised Lagosians when it started in the morning, those who can avoid some non-essential travels, they have also warned them to also probably stay at home if where they are is actually safe and so on.
All right. Abdul Latif, thank you so much for the update. I appreciate you for bringing us up to speed with some of those developments, especially with regards to some of the losses, especially that unfortunately developed in Ketu, where the primary school pupil lost his life as a result of the flood. We'll keep tabs on this development. Thank you so much for joining us on the news. Abdul Latif Ali, the Acting Bureau Chief, Daily Trust for Southwest, reporting on that heavy downpour across parts of Lagos State that began late Tuesday evening and, of course, left much of the day in ruins for a lot of people across the state. Moving on, Nigeria has recorded over 2,000 suspected cases of cholera outbreak across 33 states of the Federation. The NCDC says this marks a significant increase from the 1,579 cases reported just over a week ago, highlighting the rapid spread of the disease outbreak. Now, this was disclosed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which puts the case fatality rate at 3%. Briefing journalists on the measures deployed against the outbreak on Tuesday, the NCDC Director General Jide Idris says cases were recorded as of June 30th, 2024. According to Idris, Lagos, Bayelsa, Abia, Zamfara, Bauchi, Katsina, Cross River, Ebonyi, Rivers, and Delta states contribute about 90% of the case burden. He also attributed the outbreak to the consumption of contaminated water and food items, highlighting the highly contagious nature of the disease. The Director General of the NCDC identified inadequate toilet facilities, poor sanitation, and inadequate safe water as factors militating against cholera eradication in Nigeria. Back to Lagos, where residents of Lagos State have called on the federal government to reinstate monthly sanitation exercises as part of efforts to curb the spread of cholera. They made the call while speaking to Trust TV News against the backdrop of the recent outbreak of the disease, which has spread across 33 states in the country. The report.
According to experts, curbing the spread of infectious diseases such as cholera disease requires environmental and personal hygiene. In Lagos State, residents have decried the poor management of the environment as indiscriminately dumped refuse dots the length and breadth of the state. This, a pharmacist at Orile Agege General Hospital, Fumi Ajao, said must be addressed amongst other issues of hygiene.
We need to know the right methods that we need to implement in disposing of our waste. Yes, we have NOMA, but NOMA can't do everything. It starts from the basics, from your kitchen. You need to know how to bag your waste. We have different colored bags. The public needs to know that there are different waste for different bags. We need to know the solid waste, we need to know the municipal waste, we need to know the infectious waste, the glass and the plastic waste bags. They are all colored bags.
Lagos residents, on their part, want the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to reinstate the monthly environmental sanitation exercise that is observed on the last Saturday of every month to ensure the surroundings are kept clean.
For us to eradicate this cholera disease, we have to keep our environment clean. And moreover, we should tell the government or advise the government that the environmental sanitation that something is facing up, they should bring it back. That every house should come, every household should come out the way we normally do it then. That every Saturday or last Saturday of the year, that we should bring it back.
The government should bring sanitation back to Lagos, because every environment is very dirty and it's causing cholera disease. That is the problem.
Government can bring back the environmental for the cleaning of the environment, because during that time, everywhere always looks clean. And for now, because of the disease, we should keep all our surroundings clean, and whatever we are doing, we should make it clean, like household, everything that we have at home, all our children, we should make sure that they were well cleaned.
Now I want the government to bring back every Saturday sanitation as they used to do. Every last Saturday of the month as they used to do. Because this will go a long way to sanitize our environment as it is. Because now it's only in the market that you see people trying to sweep and clean some places. But what about our household? What about where we left to come to the market? They are dirty.
Meanwhile, experts are calling on residents to prioritize cleanliness, observe personal, environmental, and mental hygiene in order to avoid cholera.
In other news, the Northeast Development Commission has pledged to provide humanitarian aid to victims of the recent suicide bomb explosions in Goza, aiming to alleviate the trauma caused by the attack. The managing director of the NEDC disclosed this commitment while commiserating with victims of this at the State Specialist Hospital in Meduri, the Borno State capital. He explains that the commission is part of a state government committee dedicated to offering the necessary support for the victims. The hospital reported that 2 victims lost their lives, while 20 others have been discharged.
The marriage ceremony, then burial. These are all crowd events, and then they targeted it very well, but unfortunately they got it, and this has happened. So we are talking to state government, we are talking to all the stakeholders, and I'm sure the state government is probably going to have a committee or so. We are going to be part of the committee, and we'll now provide all the support that we can do to help the people for now, for the future and the long term.
We don't have much challenge except for human resource.
How about
we need human resource. Blood, no problem with our blood. We've already mobilized our people. We have, I think, one of the best blood banks you have in the north is here. We need doctors, nurses, and other paramedics. All are in fact, even cleaners, still we need them, including security. Security is one of the major, apart from the other specialized profession. Next is security.
The Ogun State Police Command says 2 suspected kidnappers who abducted travelers along the Shagamu-Elisha Expressway have been neutralized, while others escaped with gunshot injuries. The State Commissioner of Police, Abiodun Alamutu, made the disclosure in Abeokuta, the state capital, while briefing journalists on the situation report on the incident at the police headquarters on Wednesday. Trust TV's Abbas Alibi has more.
CP Abiodun Alamutu said 5 AK-47 arms and ammunition were recovered from the suspect, just as he urged members of the general public to provide information about the fleeing suspect.
On the 30th of June 2024, the divisional police officer in Ikene received a distress call reporting a kidnap incident at about 19:10 hours near the Labo Junction on the Shagamu-Ijebu-Ode Expressway. It was reported that unidentified armed individuals believed to be kidnappers accosted a Toyota RAV4 Jeep. The armed men who emerged from an unregistered Venza car fired shots at the driver's side tire and another at the rear side of the driver, forcing the vehicle to a stop. Subsequently, they forcefully abducted the occupants of the vehicle and fled towards Ijebu-Ode. Upon noticing the police officer's flashlight, they engaged the team in a gun battle. The anti-kidnapping squad's superior power led to the elimination of 2 suspects, while the remaining criminals escaped with gunshot injuries, leaving behind their operational weapons.
Alamutu added that the rifles recovered from the suspects are new, and the police will investigate how it gets to the suspect.
The victims, who were later identified as 1 Nigerian and 3 Indian nationals, were safely rescued unarmed and reunited with their families. Items recovered at the scene include 5 AK-47 rifles, 109 rounds of 7.62 mm ammunition, 8 AK-47 magazines, and 2 cell phones.
The government ambushed the travelers around 8 p.m. on Sunday between Shagamu Area Command of the Nigerian Police and Elisan Township in Ogun State. From Abeokuta, Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
Now, the abductors of a customary court judge, Janet Igaladima, and her 4 sons have demanded a ransom of 300 million naira for their release. The judge and her children were taken from their home in Mahuta New Extension in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State on June 23rd at around 11 p.m. Days after the abduction, the kidnappers reportedly killed her 14-year-old son and threatened to kill the others if the ransom was not paid. This tragic turn of event has heightened concerns over the safety of the remaining family members in captivity. Godwin Ochai, the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association Kaduna State Branch, addressed a press conference expressing deep concern for the family's plight while calling for their urgent rescue. He described the kidnapping as a wake-up call for the governor of Kaduna State, emphasizing that the security situation in the state requires immediate and effective action. In other security-related news, terrorists ambushed a police patrol team around Zandam village in Jibia local government area, killing 4 officers on the spot. The incident occurred when the police operatives had just left their base to patrol nearby communities, unaware that the terrorists had laid in wait to ambush them and open fire. Police authorities, through spokesperson ASP Sadiq Aliu, confirmed the incident, clarifying that 4 officers lost their lives in the encounter, contrary to the 5 being reported across some media platforms. He assured the public that the security operatives are actively pursuing the assailants with the intention of apprehending them and bringing them to justice. Jibia local government area is among the areas severely affected by bandit attacks over the past 2 decades, with frequent incidents of killings and property destruction impacting residents in the area. Now, Nigeria's passport management system is set to receive a proficiency boost with the application of contactless biometric protocols that will close existing gaps in the system and improve service delivery. The Minister of Interior, Olubumi Tunji Ojo, made this known during a visit to Media Trust headquarters in Abuja, while highlighting the adoption of new technologies to help fast-track seamless global best practices. The report.
There have been notable improvements in Nigeria's passport processing capacity and output over the past year under the current administration, with over 200,000 backlogs already cleared to help facilitate easy access while guaranteeing effective and efficient service delivery. The minister, while highlighting the gradual transition across the sector, noted the ever-changing landscape in information management, which has prompted the Tinubu administration to adopt technological tools that will add value to the system.
So we inherited 204,000, and in less than 3 weeks, we were able to clear it. Guess what? We didn't change the personnel. Not one person was changed. We didn't change the equipment. We didn't spend any money. Nothing. It was just a change of mentality. The same people that were unable to produce this for months did it in 2 weeks. And to me, that is where leadership comes in. And I made it an order. Never again should Nigerians wait beyond 2 weeks for this. We're like the first or second country in Africa to have what we call an interactive API, Advanced Passenger Information System. That's the truth now. So what it means is that is fully deployed. The command and control center is there in Soka, massive, and which is integrated to even all our e-gates. When you get to the Abuja airport now, we have fully deployed the 8 e-gates. When you get to Terminal 2 in Lagos, we deployed, finished 100%, 8 e-gates. When you get to the D-Wing in Lagos, we have deployed 4 e-gates. As I speak to you, we're about rounding up the 8 e-gates for the Echo Wing in Lagos. So it means that all our international and the gates, the 4 for Kano, the 4 for Port Harcourt, and 4 for Enugu, they're already on ground. So we're doing it one by one.
On border security, the Minister of Interior says a lot of commitment is being made to address shortfalls while reforms continue to take shape in revamping Nigeria's security architecture.
And I said, look, the essence of technology is to make life easier. If life is not easier, number one, and life is not more secured and safer, then technology is useless. Technology is to bring convenience, not hardship. And this is, so we decided now with the contract, we finished the solution. And when we finished the solution, we were ready to go by March 8th. We now realized that, okay, NIS did not have a data center of their own. NIS was leveraging on the magnanimity and generosity of a third service. And I said, no, NIS, you keep data of Nigerians. It's important you are in charge of your own data center, and we decided to start it. And today, to the glory of God, which is one of the major achievements, is that we've been able to complete 100% our tier 4 1.4 petabyte data center for the first time in 61 years of NIS.
Is it functioning now?
It's 100%. Yes. We are inviting in the next couple of weeks, maybe 2, we're inviting top media executives to come and look at just the facility. Beyond that, we have that now up and running. So now I can take responsibility for what happens, and not government depending on the magnanimity of a third-party company to say, oh, come on. I mean, you can't do that.
The minister's visit also centered on the need for a collaborative effort.
This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Still to come. Local furniture manufacturers gasping for breath in Kano over current economic downturn. Details of this and many more stories up ahead after the break. Welcome back to the news. Let's take another look at our top stories. Torrential rains disrupt traffic, overwhelm structures across Lagos as one pupil loses his life. Cholera death toll now at 63, with over 2,000 recorded cases across 33 states of the Federation. Now, the alarming security situation across parts of Nigeria took center stage at the National Assembly on Wednesday, with lawmakers expressing shock over the heinous suicide bombing attacks in Goza town of Borno State this past week. Now, in the Red Chamber, debates during the plenary session focused extensively on the security challenges gripping the nation. Many lawmakers voiced their concerns, questioning whether the current security architecture has failed to adequately address the escalating threats. Our Senate correspondent, Sagir Ibrahim, has more.
The lawmakers blamed the recent suicide bombings in Goza town in Borno State on failure of intelligence on the part of security forces. These were sequel to a motion moved by Senator Ali Ndume on the suicide attack in Goza, Borno State. Lawmakers expressed concern over the loss of lives recorded in the blast.
Mr. President, as I said, the black spots are 3. What needs to be done can be achieved if the Nigerian army are given specific instruction and attention and provided with what they need, particularly drones and other technologically driven gadgets. It costs nothing for the intelligent army to get devices in their phone to know where these notorious criminals live. Let's think that for once we make a very passionate appeal to this government. Let this government be the government that will end insecurity in Nigeria. As any other thing that we wish for ourselves, that we hope and pray for our country, revolves around the security of the people and their property.
The government should do the right thing. If we invest on education, the governor should take education as a priority, because nobody can believe this, that when you kill another person, you go to see God. We should talk less now about the military and arming the military. We've been doing that for years, and it has not changed anything.
At least we have brought up something very serious here, that we should also employ a lot of technology. The technology don't need to be physically there. We can monitor from miles away to know when there is likely going to be an infraction in security. And also, what happened there could also be described as failure of intelligence.
The Senate, however, directed the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to, as a matter of national emergency, provide relief materials and medical support to the victims. Meanwhile, the Senate on Wednesday also raised serious concern over the continued importation of hazardous petroleum products and dumping of substandard diesel in Nigeria, which it says possess serious threats to the country's industrial sector.
Also note that the quality of the said diesel is below the Nigerian standard in terms of flash and sulfur levels. In spite of the substandard nature of the diesel, it has found its way into the Nigerian market. The Senate further notes that the stock of diesel in contention is priced below the fair market value, which constitutes dumping on the World Trade Organization rules.
The investigation, as suggested by our colleagues, should be holistic, very holistic, and that is also to unveil why somebody is producing diesel in the country and he had to go out to look for foreign market to sell the product. On the other hand, polluted or toxic diesel is being imported into the same Nigeria.
Less of a quality petroleum product is used. It leads to an early, destruction of the engines of these vehicles, including also its negative impact on our industrial sector.
This is an infraction. This is criminal. This is not in the interest of this country. And I beg you, and I beg you, and I beg you, we must see to the end of this infraction and this unwholesome activity.
This is too important to the economy of the country. It's important to the health of the citizens of this country, and it's also important to job retention in the country.
Senator Ekpenyong says the formation of an ad hoc committee will lead to a thorough investigation and possibly sanction those responsible to serve as a deterrent to others. From the Red Chamber of the National Assembly, Sagir Ibrahim, reporting for Trust TV.
In other news, over the years, the high demand for furniture has attracted both large-scale manufacturers and small-scale artisans into the industry. However, the current economic situation in Nigeria, combined with the proliferation of manufacturers, has resulted in low sale volumes and decreased profits. In this report, Trust TV's Idris Jibrin examines the current state of the furniture industry in Kano and explores how local artisans are navigating these economic challenges. His report.
The boom in furniture industry may not be unconnected with the cultural practices of the people of Kano State, especially in contracting marriages, where furniture, popularly known in local parlance as part of kayan daiki, constitute part of the essential as required by Hausa tradition, where some of the young men driving the industry often suspended their formal education at secondary school level, while a few graduates have found passion and opportunities in the business. Unfortunately, the furniture industry is no longer what it was.
This furniture, there's nothing we could do. Just give glory to Almighty Allah. Because things are really tough. Furniture things, we cannot even afford to be buying materials. Before, we used to buy this plywood, we used to work at the rate of 9,000 naira, but each plywood now double, over 24,000, 25,000 naira each plywood now. So things is not easy for us.
The furnitures, we are going some kind of issue now due to the expenses of the material that we will buy in some cases. And these materials that we are buying, they are so expensive. That's why some customers, they are selling us the materials expensive, and we are facing some issues.
Furniture is both a consumer and industrial goods. However, furniture makers in Kano say the current economic situation in Nigeria is forcing many people to stay away from buying furniture, largely because it's too expensive owing to the high cost of material.
Sometimes the customers are complaining. They are complaining about the issue of the expensive. Because previously, some customers, they can buy the bed at 500,000 or at 200,000. But now, it's more expensive. It can reach 5,000 or more than that.
According to Abdulaziz, the need for government to intervene is necessary if they are to continue to remain in business, as furniture hitherto sold at 200,000 naira now cost between 400 to 600,000 naira, which is why the furniture makers are facing low patronage at the moment.
I've been here since 7:30. I'm the owner of this Elame furniture from here to down that side.
Yes.
That can do 1 week, 2 weeks, since a month. Damn, I never said, but we are living.
In Gorenduse, Many people are said to have left the business, basically due to lack of capital and high cost of imported materials. And those who manage to remain in business are operating far below their usual capacity.
Sometimes we need some materials from other side, like foreign materials, because now we are making a modern furnitures, but we doesn't have some materials in our country.
At least if government come in, at least I believe things will be very okay. But for now, no intervention, nothing is going on. Just leave us.
Although things are tough for furniture makers, but these people are however hopeful that one day things will be better for the furniture industry in Kano State. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Students of the University of Benin staged a protest on Wednesday over a power outage that has persisted for over 3 weeks. Unable to endure the resultant hardship any longer, the students blocked the outbound route of the Lagos-Benin Expressway. Before reporters were chased away by the protesters, several students expressed their stress from the prolonged outage and its impact on their livelihood. The demonstrations significantly disrupted traffic, with vehicles being able to continue their journey only on the inbound route of the expressway. In other news, the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company has announced an increase in the tariff payable by customers on Band A feeders. According to a statement released on Wednesday by the company's head of corporate communication, Abdulaziz Abdullahi, premium customers will now pay 209 naira 50 kobo per kilowatt hour, which is up from the previous rate of 206 naira 80 kobo per kilowatt hour. Now, the statement further states that the new tariff became effective on July 1st. It also notes that the tariffs for bands B, C, D, and E remain unchanged. This tariff hike comes amid widespread complaints from customers, including manufacturers and public as well as private institutions, who have argued that their monthly electricity bills are becoming increasingly unaffordable. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency has successfully rescued 7 individuals trapped in a collapsed 2-story building in Mushin area of Lagos State. Dr. Olufemi Oke-Osanyi Tolu, the agency's permanent secretary, confirmed this development in a statement released on Wednesday. The collapse occurred at Mushin area. In response, LASEMA and other key responders swiftly mobilized to the scene, demonstrating their readiness and efficiency in handling emergency situations. Now, Dr. Oke-Osanyi Tolu assured the public the agency remains on high alert to manage the situation while urging Lagos residents to remain calm. He also advised residents to avoid any non-essential travel due to the incidents of flash flooding across the state, which have compounded the challenges faced by emergency responders.
Just look at it. Easy, it's not bad. You say that one don't go short. Where did I be? Only one beginner. Okay, only one beginner.
To Adamawa State, where Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintri says the state is set to begin the second phase of selecting outstanding female secondary school graduates who have scored 9 credits and above for scholarship enrollment. Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintri announced the directive during a meeting with parents of female students who benefited from the first special scholarship scheme initiated by his administration. Expressing his commitment to the development of education in Adamawa State, particularly for female students, Governor Fintri highlighted the importance of educating the girl child. He affirmed that the scholarship program will be a continuous project ensuring that all qualified students can benefit from this opportunity.
So acting ES, I'm still directing you, this is for last year. You quickly commence the selection for those that have finished this year. I'm not pronouncing it as a policy that it should be a continuous program. Any female students that gets 9 credit and above, even if they are 20,000, we will sponsor them. The state will not bleed. Our infrastructure drive will not suffer. Our human capital development will not suffer because we are training our future generation.
Staying in the northeast, stakeholders from Borno, Adamawa and Yobe states recently convened in Meduri, the Borno state capital, for a risk and hazard contingency planning workshop. The workshop aims to develop a comprehensive response and preparation in anticipation of potential floods in the region. Trust TV's Beatrice Kurusi has more.
During the floods of 2022, more than 600 died, while 4.4 million people were affected with houses submerged and properties destroyed. It is predicted that 31 states will experience floods and heavy rainfalls, with Borno, Adamawa and Yobe states named among states that will be affected. The waters may cause disease outbreaks such as malaria, cholera, among others. It is against this backdrop that UNICEF and its partners across the Bay States agreed to develop an action plan to avert the expected risks in communities prone to flood in the northeast.
We know that in the Bay States there are major risks in various communities related to what I was referring to, such as flooding or outbreaks. And so we want to, through this, we want to have a community, we like to support the government in have communities better prepared and in the long run eventually more resilient to shocks. If you have noticed, the state governments have been desilting their drainages. They have been making up the various outfalls in the various locations that have experienced these floodings to make sure that the outfalls are in good condition, and they have also been with us in sensitizing the various traditional rulers and religious leaders, because we can't do it all. There are locations that are on the main routes and there are some locations that are hidden. We tell them the dangers of putting waste in most of these drainages.
The contingency plan, after being drafted, will be integrated with the national contingency plans for stakeholders to be on the same page when the disaster happens, so that communities won't be adversely affected. Beatrice Kurusi, Trust TV News, Meduri.
Time now to join Yusuf Akugu for an update in business.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akugu. The volume of dollars turnover in the Nigerian foreign exchange market (NAFEM) rose year-on-year by 74% to $22.88 billion in the first half of 2024 from $13.11 billion in the first half of 2023. Analysis of the quarterly transactions in the market as published by an FMDQ showed that turnover stood at $12.64 billion in the first quarter of 2024 and fell quarter-on-quarter by 19% to $10.24 billion in the second quarter of 2024. Weekly analysis of June transactions in NAFEM showed that turnover stood at $1.05 billion in the first week of June, but fell to 21.5% week-on-week to $823.75 million in the second week. The downward trend reversed in the fourth week when turnover rose by 80.6% to $940.17 million. The currency in circulation in Nigeria has surged to 19.1 trillion naira over the past 5 months despite the monetary policy rate tightening stance. According to recent data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, this growth highlights significant monetary dynamics within the country. The CBN Money and Credit Statistics revealed that in the first 3 months of 2024, the CIC was 11.21 trillion naira. In April and May, the figure were 3.922 trillion naira and 3.965 trillion naira respectively. This increase indicates heightened economic activity and potential rise in demand for cash transactions. Currency in circulation encompasses banknotes and coins in active use within the economy. NGS closed Wednesday trading in green as investors gained over 200 billion naira. Let's see how it went down to the top gaining equities there. Cornerstone Insurance Company leading again yet again 9.57% to close at 2 naira and 29 kobo per share. RC Briscoe also up there 9.38% to close at 70 kobo per share. Of course, IMG also up as well 9.24% to close at 13 naira per share. This has moved up the market up by 0.23%. Let's look at the top trading equities there by volume. The top trading equities by volume, Fidelity Bank of Nigeria PLC leading that table, 137.641 million shares there. Universal Insurance Company there, 21.228 million shares it traded. ICO Insurance, 14.923 million shares it also traded at the close of business this Wednesday. Of course, some equities ended on the losing side of the market. Leading that table is UPL down there 10% to close at 2 naira and 25 kobo per share. Dacom also down 5.88% to close at 48 kobo per share. Of course, Omatech also down 5.80% to close at 65 kobo per share there. That's the highlight of stock trading as it went down this Wednesday on the floor of NGS. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. Oil prices steady on Wednesday as global crude oil shipments fall in June on Saudi Arabia export slump. At the London market, Brent crude sells for $86 per barrel. For the OPEC basket, price steadies at $86 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akugu.
And to other news stories developing on the international scene, armed men have killed approximately 40 people in an attack on Jigui Bombo village in central Mali. Local officials report that the attack took place on Monday in the Mopti region, an area in Mali's north and center where groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS have been active for more than a decade. Eyewitnesses say the attackers surrounded the village during a wedding ceremony. A local youth representative noted that the assault began before nightfall and continued uninterrupted for about 3 hours. The officials did not identify the attackers and no group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack. South Africa's new unity government under President Cyril Ramaphosa has been sworn in at a televised ceremony in Cape Town on Wednesday following weeks of coalition haggling ahead of the 32 ministers making up of the cabinet. Paul Mashatile who has been reappointed deputy president, was the first to take the oath of office. The African National Congress, which has governed since the advent of democracy back in 1994, sought to form a government of national unity after losing its outright parliamentary majority back in May this year. The historic party keeps 20 cabinet positions, including foreign affairs, finance, defense, justice, and police. Its largest coalition partner and longtime critic, the Democratic Alliance, will head 6 ministries, including agriculture, public works, and communication. DA leader John Steenhuisen, 48, was appointed agriculture minister. Along with his party, he has criticized the ANC for failing to tackle high violent crime rates, a lackluster economy, and a crippling energy crisis. The Zulu Nationalist Inkatha Freedom Party, Anti-Immigration Patriotic Alliance, Right-Wing Afrikaans Party, Freedom Front Plus, and other smaller parties will hold 6 cabinet positions between them. Now, the new government heralds a pragmatic shift to the center-right, bringing hope for better governance, but also cohesion fears. Time now for some sports. Here's Emmanuel Fashemi with the latest.
No fewer than 40 young Nigerian referees have undergone an intensive FIFA MA Young Talents referee course in Abuja. The course is being handled by an experienced referee technical instructor and COSAFA VAR project manager Felix Tangawarima, alongside Malawian FIFA fitness coach Mark Zengo. Recall that recently the Nigerian Football Referees Association (NFRA) held its annual general meeting in Bayelsa State, where the stakeholders of the association discussed the way forward and took binding decisions that affect the association. Meanwhile, the 2024 NFRA National Promotional Examination has been slated for Saturday, 10th August 2024. Nigerian Super Falcons head coach Randy Waldrum has picked captain Rasheedat Ajibade, goalkeeper Chiamaka Nadozie, defender Osinachi Ohale, forward Asisa Toshola, and 14 other players in the Super Falcons final list for this year's Women's Olympic Football Tournament in France. Also among players on the list are defenders Oluwatosin Demehin and Michel Alozie, midfielders Deborah Abiodun, Halimatu Anyide, Christy Uchebe, and Tony Payne, and forwards Esther Okoronkwo, Chiwendu Hezuo, and Uchenna Kano. Squad members who are currently on holiday in Nigeria will join home-based players and team officials abroad on Air France flight from Abuja to Sevilla, Spain on Thursday night, with the rest of the playing body and technical team also arriving in Sevilla on Friday for a 2-week training camp. The team is scheduled to depart Sevilla for France on Thursday, 18th July 2024. 9-time African champions Nigeria, who are making their first appearance at the Women's Olympic Football Tournament since 2008 in China, will trade tackles with Brazil, Spain, and Japan in that order at this year's tournament. To qualify for the 12-team tournament, the Falcons edged South Africans Bayana 1-0 in the last qualifying round with a strike from penalty spot in Abuja by Ajibade, separating Africa's top 2 teams over 2 legs in April. Their first game against Brazil comes up at the Stade Bordeaux on 25th July before confrontations with Spain on the 28th of July and Japan on the 31st of July. The matches against Spain and Japan will hold at the Stade de la Beaujeu in Nantes, where the Super Eagles famously defeated tournament favourite Spain 3-2 in a memorable game at the 1998 FIFA World Cup Finals. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashimi.
And that is our offering on the News Hour for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Feel free, as always, to follow us across our social media platforms to stay in touch. You can also visit our website, trusttv.com, for the latest news and documentaries. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. From myself and the rest of the team, thank you for your time and good night.